Everybody now looks towards the lights. The green flag is shown at the back to say that everybody has returned from the formation laps. Round 20 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship from Knockhill, ready to go. Lights go red, lights out quickly. Good start by Jake Hill, bit of wheel spin from 1 and 2 in the front wheel drive mob, and that means that Charles Rainford is able to stay ahead of Tom Ingram and, in fact, attack for the race lead. But a good getaway made by Dan Cammish. He gets up the inside of Proctor. Moffat's on his toes as well. Proctor's off the road and back on again. Thankfully, without drama, as our Sutton now tries to squeeze up the inside. But good start by Jake Hill, and he leads to the chicane with Rainford second, Ingram third, and then a gap already.
Yeah, Ingram was well away, but so too with the BMWs. It was Proctor that dropped back with the poor start, and Cammish and Rainford both through.
And Ash Sutton getting physical as he tries to find a way through. This is Tom Ingram's view, and that's Charles Rainford ahead of him. This is the battle for second place. Ingram round the outside, brakes late. He's got the job done. Can he get round the corner ahead and not go out wide? We'll wait and see as they come up over the line. This is the drag race then. Rear wheel drive versus front wheel drive, but Ingram's got the job done. Nicely done as well. And Proctor is in a right old scrum of cars coming up to the line in the background.
Yeah, that was Ingram relying on that advantageous soft tyre to outbrake the hard type BMW while it was still on lap 1, and he did it perfectly. The gap has opened up a little bit just behind the front two. Let's see what Ingram can do about chasing downhill.
This is Dan Rowbottom then, going through the chicane. Teammate Sam Osborne ahead. Now is Osborne going to let his teammate go. Rowbottom fights to the inside line. Osborne doesn't put up a massive defence. For the race lead, though, it is Ingram on the back of Jake Hill then. Champions of the past, both. Ingram to the outside. Jake Hill tries to cover all of that off as Charles Rainford third, waiting to mop up anything that is spilt ahead of him. But then, look, Dan Cammish is closing in fourth, and he would rather like Ingram to remain stuck behind Hill, wouldn't he? Because that gives him a lifeline to catch up to the BMWs.
Yeah, remember, though, Ingram has got more laps of boost, and we've heard how advantageous it is around this short circuit. 15 seconds round here is a lot if the other driver has got none.
Yeah, so Tom Ingram coming into this with 7 laps worth of boost. Dan Cammish with 9, and the lead is absolutely nose to tail. Jake Hill under attack now. Charles Rainford hanging on to third. This is Ingram, big send up the inside, heading into Clark's. Jake Hill gives him racing room. He's all up the curb. He's just ahead as they come off the corner. But Ingram now can stand his ground, confident in the knowledge that he has got the inside line down to the hairpin. There's another rub. There's another rub. I'm coming through, says Ingram, and now he stands on the brakes. He's got the line for the hairpin. He's got the lead.
Yeah, some aggressive driving by Ingram in the early laps when he knows he's got a slight advantage over the BMWs, getting their tyres fully into the working temperature, despite the 34-degree track temperature we've got here.
So it is Ingram ahead of a two-wheeling Hill. It's Rainford third, it's Cammish fourth, and there's a bit of a gap back to Proctor, Moffat, De Leon, and Sutton is still only 8th, and he's not making the progress he needs to make.
Yeah, that's unusual, especially as he has now got plenty of boost available to him. He's got 11 laps, the maximum's 12, so he's got a lot.
And of those 11 laps, he has not used any yet, so he's saving it for the second half of the race, understandably. Then he'll have a push, as right now, Cammish is on the attack for third place. He was on the boost. You can see the light flashing in the window. Cammish to the inside of Charles Rainford into the hairpin. He's up to third.
Well, these two came to blows, didn't they, at Croft when Rainford was on the harder tyre. A lot more discretion being applied in this case. On board with Dexter Patterson coming up the start-finish straight. He's right behind Tom Chilton, who actually started last in the Team Virtue Hyundai. So Chilton's already made some good progress.
Gordon Shedden getting past James Dorling. Shedden letting the car dance down the hill. Chris Smiley, by the way, is the leading independent. Shedden with a massive slide. He saves it, but he's off the road. He's through the gravel. Dorling tries to get back up the inside, but Gordon Shedden's not for letting him by.
Well, that was a big slide. I wasn't sure initially whether Shedden actually had a problem, but he's managed to get through the chicane and now through Clark, okay.
And look at Mikey Doble up the inside of Dan Lloyd. Let's have another look at this.
You watch Shedden, he just closes the door there, gets a little touch. I thought that might have damaged the rear because he really had a big slide there. But he manages to gather it all up through the dirt a little bit.
And not lose a place either. Dan Lloyd going through with bodywork flying. Senna Proctor coming down towards turn 1. So Proctor and Moffat together. Sutton's up to 7th behind them. Ash Sutton has gained a place at the expense of Daryl De Leon now. And Mikey Doble is pushing forward. He's got past Dan Lloyd. So Doble now is up into 18th in the Cupra.
But did you see the Cupra wagging its tail as it went through Duffer's Dip and Leslie's there? They said they made some extreme setup changes. Mikey Doble, as always, is driving the wheels off the car, but it looks a little bit taily at the back. Ingram has got a nice gap now to Hill. Cammish is fairly close, and then we've got the Proctor-Rainford-Moffat battle.
Coming out of the hairpin then, Ash Sutton riding the curve, Daryl De Leon behind him, and as they accelerate then now up towards the timing line once again, it is Ingram edging away from Hill, 1.2 seconds now the margin between them.
That was Rainford with his indicator on, his left-hand indicator, to let Moffat through. Moffat's on the superior tyre, and Rainford was just letting him through clearly without losing too much time.
Sutton closing all the while and bouncing over the curve as well. He's got Daryl De Leon behind him. De Leon with the maximum 12 laps of boost, and he's on that softer tyre, so his rally crossing did him a sort of favour in race one by putting him outside that top three and therefore jettisoning the medium tyre going into this race. Down towards the hairpin, we go on board here with Gordon Shedden, and Dexter Patterson, fellow Scottish driver, is up ahead of him. Patterson at the minute is second in the independents. Manufacturer entry for Gordon Shedden coming up to the outside, wide in, tight out may well be the plan.
Yeah, interesting lap time analysis now. Ingram has just set the fastest lap with a 51.2, matched by Hill. So Hill is matching him on pace. Cammish at 51.8. But it just shows what can be done on that tyre.
That was Adam Morgan going through with a really bold move against Aaron Taylor-Smith for 9th place. I thought Adam was about to run out of real estate, but he hung on to it. So Adam Morgan goes through, and he's up into 9th spot as there. Hayden Moffat continues to push. He's up to 5th, up to 6th now is Ash Sutton, so he's edging towards the front. The big problem, of course, for Sutton in all of this is that he's behind Ingram.
Yeah, but oh, and off, that's Osborne. Off on the grass on the exit of Clark. Must have had a moment. Oh, yeah, look, huge entry speed there. The marshals were running away, but he actually rejoins very neatly.
He nearly had to pay to get back in. He was that far off the racetrack. Meanwhile, Jake Hill goes down through Duffer's Dip with Dan Cammish getting closer and closer all the time. That gap is virtually nothing at all now. This is the fight for second place. So Ingram gets a free ride. He's pulling away. There he is through the chicane. But Jake Hill on the medium tyre, which is not as good as the soft. It's not awful, but it's not as good as the soft. He's just hanging on to second place. Shedden's cleared Patterson, and Dexter is under attack as well, look, because James Dorlin wants to get past him. James, having never raced here before, learning all the time, and he's learning fast. He's right up behind. And Sam Osborne, by the way, is pitted after that huge moment at Clark's.
Yeah, probably to clear the grass out of the radiators. It's so hot here today. The ambient temperature is 22 degrees. The track, as we said, 34.
Looking back from Shedden's car, that's Dexter Patterson trying to keep James Dorlin at bay. The Cupra coming up towards the line, the Unlimited Motorsport car. The Patterson family, as you look there at the Moffat versus De Leon battle coming through. Daryl De Leon is going to be ahead on the outside line. Moffat's got the inside for the next corner. They're still side by side though. De Leon gets roughed up towards the gravel. Moffat goes through just to finish the Patterson sentence. Of course, Dexter's dad Roddy instrumental in providing a car to help Power Max get on the grid. So well done, the Patterson family.
Yeah, that's the ex-Scott Sumpton car, which was owned by the Patterson family and is being driven by Nick Halstead at this race. The car that the Cupra that Mikey Doble is in is actually the ex-Stephen Jelly car that won Unlimited Motorsport ran at the last race.
That's right, that's all chassis from early on in the season. Now this for teammates is an interesting one. It's Nick Moffat versus De Leon versus Charles Rainford behind on the medium tyre. Aidan Moffat wanting to go well on home soil. He comes over the line 6th, De Leon 7th. And then you've got Rainford in 8th place, it's Morgan in 9th, and Dan Rowbolton 10th with a change for 11th place. Taylor Smith back ahead of Smiley under braking.
Yeah, there were lots and lots of chassis changes being made in between race 1 and 2. The general feedback from drivers was a lot of understeer. This was Rowbottom. Remember, he fell back a bit at the end of the race. He basically just got too much understeer. And what tends to be happen is that as the track increases temperature, the car grips up more at the rear. It gets more rear tyre temperature and grips up and pushes the front more. So a lot of chassis changes to try and loosen up the the rear of the car on the front-wheel drive car. Still Moffat and DeLeon side by side. Charles Rainford is just watching this. He's on the harder tyre and isn't going to take part in it. He's just trying to stay ahead as much as he can, but the positions have swapped.
DeLeon goes through. That puts him into the top 6. Formation flying from the BMWs, both airborne over the curb at Duffer's Dip, down through the right-hander of McIntyre's now. So, up front, it is Ingram ahead of Hill, and the gap Hill to Cammish, half a second. There they are. Dan hasn't been able to crack the BMW, has he?
He hasn't, but there's such a little difference between, as I said, the BMW on a slightly harder tyre being the preferred car here. The deficit on the tyre isn't great, and as longer the race goes on, I think the more... Whoa, big oversteer moment there. You saw the wheel spin, the black lines, and that's given Cammish a great opportunity up the inside now, and he's going to clear before the start-finish line.
Nicely done. Dan Cammish goes through, and that's what he's been sitting and waiting for, and Jake Hill way up the curve, and that unsettles the car completely. So Cammish now starts to edge away. That's not the only battle going on as you look at Morgan versus Rowbottom here. This is the 8th and 9th places now, because Rowbottom has cleared Rainford, so they've made a little bit of progress. But yeah, big moment for Jake Hill then at Duffer's Dip. Now we'll see what Dan Cammish can do. Now this is what was happening from Dan Rowbottom's point of view coming up to Rainford.
Yeah, look at the boost advantage, how much faster your top speed is. It's so much so he goes round the outside, gets a little bit wide, jumps a bit across the curb, and just claims that place.
Senna Proctor has also managed to find a way past Jake Hill, and Ash Sutton is about to get past the reigning champion as well, look. So Jake now is struggling. That moment at Duffers didn't help life, and so Sutton goes through. That's going to put him up in a 4th place. He's still being outscored by Ingram, but not by as much. Let's have a look at Hill versus Proctor into the hairpin.
Wow, super late on the race, and that opened the door beautifully for Sutton. He would have been chuckling at that one.
Now Dan Cammish in the meantime is still chasing after Tom Ingram. The gap is 4.6 seconds, so now that Dan Cam has clear racetrack ahead of him, let's see what he can do. There's a driving standards flag being offered for Gordon Shedden and also Adam Morgan and also Nick Hamilton for track limit offences. Senna Proctor versus Ash Sutton. To the outside goes the Ford, the Team Virtue Hyundai on the inside and hangs on to the place. So now Napa Racing UK's Ash Sutton tries to line up for an attack going down to Duffers. Nose to tail over the line, and Sutton's going to have to work his magic now. Goes to the outside. Let's see what he can pull off going into the corner. Turn right, he's up the curb, he's onto 2 wheels, but for the moment, Proctor is ahead. Now Sutton goes to the outside. He needs that switch back to the inside on the run up towards the chicane. He's almost there, he's up the curb, and he's alongside. The line is his, and he's done it.
Yeah, that's what you call forcing the door open, wasn't it? It took 3 corners, but he managed to do it. Hill's trying to buy into this a little bit, perhaps sensing that Senna Proctor's a little bit of a wounded animal at the moment, but he hasn't been able to get through. But Sutton gains another place. That is vital if he's not to hemorrhage any more points to the race leader and championship leader, Tom Ingram.
Yes, don't forget Senna Proctor is on that soft tyre, but this was that great move by Sutton from the outside there, look, going through McIntyre's to the inside up to the chicane. Yeah,
cuts back in the inside through Butchers, takes a lot of curb to make sure he doesn't run into Senna Proctor and get cleanly through before the chicane, and has gapped him a little bit on this lap.
There is Chris Smiley making his way through on the inside to get ahead of Charles Rainford, so that puts Chris up into 12th place. He's the independent leader.
Championship as it stands would be 21 points ahead for Ingram over Sutton. Remember, it was 8 coming into this meeting.
So Tom Ingram having a good day. Knockhill hasn't been that kind to him over the years, what with
ride heights,
yeah. And what happened to him 1 year, he got put to the back. Anyway, it's never been a kind circuit for Tom Ingram, but finally it looks like luck is changing, because he's taking an absolute back raid of points right now. There he is, heading over the line down towards Buffer's Deck, and actually he's getting away. 6 seconds now the advantage.
Yeah, he's got that car working really well. The big one will be what happens in the reverse grid. Yeah. The last thing he wants is ball number 12 to be drawn out, isn't it?
Absolutely right.
That would put him as far back as it's possible to go on the reverse grid.
Yeah. Back on board with Rowbottom here, coming out of the right-hander of Butchers, the climb up to the chicane. So Robo still up with Morgan, 8th and 9th. The Ford way up on the 2 wheels there, going through the chicane. In the independents, it's Smiley, Patterson and Lloyd as the top three. That'll win seemingly for Restart Racing. And in fact, this time around, look, as they come down to the hairpin, Rowbottom's got Chilton up behind him, and Chilton's going to make the move. So there, the Hyundai looking really fleet of foot. The Team Virtue car to the inside line, and Chilton has got the job done.
Yeah, flying there, wasn't it? I mean, again, this is the difference in boost when you've got it and your opponent hasn't. It's worth an awful lot of straight line speed on the two big straights we've got here. And again, up the straight, it's uphill, so you get a double advantage almost when you're using boost on an uphill section as opposed to a flat section, because the advantage is cumulative.
Down now through McIntyre's they come. Meanwhile, you've got Dan Lloyd there ahead now of Dexter Patterson, and that's the change for second in the independents. Patterson perhaps into the back of Lloyd. If he wasn't, it was very, very close, but Dan stands his ground. So that means it's the Restart Racing Hyundais 1 and 2 within the independents competition. Tom Ingram has just been given a track limit warning flag, so the race leader might be pulling away, but he needs to be careful.
Well, he got one early in race 1, didn't he? But he was able to complete the race without any further penalties. Just that little tap on the brakes, didn't push Lloyd wide. That was absolutely fair. Look at Hill, though, still glued to the back of Senna Proctor. He'd love to gain another place. Maybe if Proctor's tyres go off a little bit, gains a bit of understeer in the last few laps of the race, Hill might be able to pounce.
And his last lap, Jake Hill's last lap, was quicker than Darrell De Leon behind him, even though Darrell's on the soft and Jake's on that medium tyre. Replay of Gordon Shedden here, coming up to attack Charles Rainford. Rainford really is tumbling down the order, isn't he, compared to Hill on the same tyre?
Yeah, strange. I mean, there shouldn't be that much difference between them just based on the tyre. I'm sure Charles is being circumspect after the dramas he faced at Croft, running on the harder tyre to everybody else. He does want to, he wants to pick his fights, if you like, but he has gone backwards a long way compared to Hill, you're right.
And he's teetering on dropping out of the points as well, which is not great news as the leaders go by. Now, let's just take stock for a moment. There are 5 laps to go. We start lap number 20. There is James Dorlin. He gets ahead of Rainford as well now, so that puts Charles Rainford 15th. And that's the last place for which points are awarded. Ingram to Cammish, 6.5 seconds. Cammish to Sutton, 1.6. Now that gap's come down a little bit. Their lap times are comparable, but Sutton is the quicker of the two.
Yeah, yeah, there's a few laps left, isn't there? He could actually get there, and it may be, I mean, Cammish is fighting for 3rd place in the championship with Rowbottom. Coming into this race, because of Rowbottom's dramas, he was only 2 points ahead of Cammish. So Cammish won't want to give up that place, even though Sutton wants every point he can have in the chase for against Ingram.
Now, we've seen team orders work at Team Virtue. We've seen them at Napa Racing in the past as well. So let's keep an eye to whether or not there might be a switch to help Sutton for the overall championship situation. Meanwhile, this is Proctor versus Hill, coming down the hill for 4th place. Darrell De Leon is there in 6th, doing his best to close. The laps tick on down there. Proctor climbs the hill through the chicane. Hill, likewise.
The BMW looks so good through that chicane. It doesn't take much curb, if any at all, and it keeps the wheels on the ground and the rear wheels driving that car forward. It really goes through the chicane beautifully. If you combine that with the traction advantage, and it's no wonder the BMWs are back on form here, just like they were at Brands.
To the hairpin then comes Senna Proctor. Jake Hill tucked up behind, and Darrell De Leon is almost with them. The leaders have gone through then. Now let's look at this gap between Cammish and Sutton. It's 1.3 seconds. Ash fractionally the quicker last time. Rainford's about to lose out to Dan Lloyd. That's going to put Dan in the points if he can clear the BMW. He hasn't done it yet, though.
No, not yet, but Jake Hill's still well in this fight, doing very well on the medium tyre. But of course, the medium tyre is the normal standard tyre. Normally, it's the option tyre that's the soft or the hard. So it's the tyre that the drivers are most used to driving on.
This is Moffat versus Chilton. It's for 7th place. Chilton, don't forget, has come from the very back of the grid as a sideways BMW is there ahead of him out of Clark's. It's been a really good drive, this by Chilton. They're not done yet. Can the Hyundai take 7th by the end of the race? The pace suggests yes.
Yeah, terrific drive by Chilton. He was unfortunate to lose the first race purely on overboosting. They selected an engine map which hadn't been mapped properly to stop the overboost, and that's what caused it. But this has been a fine drive, and he could well be in the hunt for the reverse grid race 3.
Fair point. The leaders then now drop down again out of Daffer's Dip. We're on lap 23 of the 24. Ash Sutton, the man currently in third place, 7 times a Knockhill winner. Here, coming down towards the hairpin, though, is the dominant race leader, Tom Ingram. He's been able to make good his escape. 6.7 seconds, the margin at the start of this lap, and he's going to have one more lap to run at the end of this. And this is absolutely perfect for the championship dream, isn't it? He comes up, he's heading for another win, the lap leader point, the fastest lap point, and he's outscoring his rival Sutton. Kerching!
Yeah, it is. It's like getting 3 cherries on the fruit machine, David. But fine drive from Ingram. He was aggressive at the start when he needed to be, and that's what's given him this comfortable position with a gap of over 6 seconds, nearly 7 seconds to Cammish.
That's Adam Morgan, who's dropped back behind Dan Rowbottom, but he's under attack as well from Aaron Taylor-Smith and from Chris Smiley, who's there in 12th place. Half a lap to go for Tom Ingram then as he makes the run out of Clark's, the Team Virtue Hyundai. It is heading for Tom's 4th win of the season, for a 37th of his career, and for an increased championship leader. Perhaps that's the most important part of it all for Tom. He comes down to the hairpin, he turns through that tight right, he's on the power, he'll drag the car up the hill towards the timing line. The checkered flag is ready. Race 2 at Knockhill is won by Tom Ingram. A dominant drive, a dominant win.
Now Cammish is moving over. I'm pretty sure I saw in the background Cammish moving over. As they cross the line, it is Sutton who takes that second and gets the extra points.
For the 4th time this season, 37th career win, and he's a very happy